Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm taking a look at the Denver Broncos and going over whether or not in the upcoming season they're a contender or a pretender. But before that topic, question for those of you viewing, comment down below, what's your record prediction for the Broncos this upcoming year? You think it's 8 wins, 10 wins, 15 wins, whatever it is, comment down below and I'll give my answer at the end. Getting straight into it though, I want to make it clear, contender for this video means can you contend as a Super Bowl team? Not a team to sneak into the playoffs or a team to win one game in the playoffs. Do I think the Broncos can contend and win all the playoff games? Bring home that big trophy. Can they be on that type of status? And pretender doesn't necessarily mean 3 wins, but just not on that tier 1 possibility level. Looking at the Broncos though, Broncos fans ignore the Chargers helmet for now. I'm unbiased. I'm not seriously, Chargers are my number 1 team. I'm going to speak very honest about the Broncos. I think very highly of them. But looking at the Broncos entering this season, I was saying the Broncos have either the first or second best secondary in the NFL. I think it was between the Broncos and Ravens. You know, the Broncos got Kyle Fuller, Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson, Bryce Callahan. Who do they have? Ronald Darby, Patrick Surtain. In my factor or my determination on whether or not they were going to be first or second best was primarily set on Patrick Surtain. You know, the upcoming rookie. If he pans out, they'll be the best secondary. If he turns out to be a bust, they'll be the second best, behind probably the Ravens, you know, Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, Deshaun Elliott, Devon Young, Jimmy Smith. But the way preseason looking, Patrick Surtain is panning out. He had the highest grade amongst any cornerback in the first preseason game. He got a pick 6. It's looking pretty good for the Broncos, and I think they're trending towards a number 1 secondary in the NFL. And up front, they got a pretty good pass rush, and they had a pretty good pass rush last year without Von Miller, with Bradley Chubb kind of being the captain of the team, and now getting their, ace back, you could say, and Von Miller, their top dog. I think they're going to be a pretty scary defense. And on offense, I hate the loss of Juwan James, but having Garrett Bowles, the guy that's an upcoming tackle for sure, the offensive line is definitely better than some in the league. I don't think it's top 5 by any means, but I do think it's an average to above average. I think I'd say it's right around above average. Just, you'd probably hit that next level if they had Juwan James, but depending how these guys pan out in replacement of him, they still have an above average O-line that can work for either Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock. Receiving core, I'm a pretty big fan of that. Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, Tim Patrick. I think Courtland Sutton is one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL. I think a lot of people don't realize how good he possibly can be or is going to be. He was supposed to have a pretty good year last year, and then he ended up not playing. I have my question marks, of course, about quarterback and about Vic Fangio, but with that type of defense, with a top 5-ish defense, sometimes it doesn't matter how good the quarterback play is as long as they can be above average. We've seen time and time again in the Broncos example. They've had an all-star defense before and their quarterback play wasn't amazing and they got a Super Bowl ring. Yes, I'm not trying to compare Drew Lock to Peyton Manning in the macro as a whole, but in that one specific year, Peyton Manning, he got carried by the defense. Drew Lock, who's to say he can't play like Peyton Manning that year and be carried by his defense? And it's worked before. We've seen the Jacksonville Jaguars make the AFC Championship due to their premier defense with Blake Bortles. Mitch Trubisky's gone 12-4 in the playoffs before. And yeah, they got bumped in the walk-around, but they lost due to a awful field goal kick. Who's to say their defense wouldn't have taken them to the next level? Defense wins championships. Everyone knows that term. And the Broncos, I do think they can hit that next level. Now, today, if you ask me, are they on that tier 1 status of the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Browns, Bucks, Rams, Packers, Seahawks, Niners? No. But are they a pretender in the fact that they have no chance? To me, this is kind of cheating. I'm not labeling them a contender or a pretender. My term for them is going to be dark horse contender. I think they are a good dark horse team in the AFC, and I think there's a couple of those. I'd say the Chargers are a difficult one. They could be a dark horse contender. The Dolphins, depending on Tua. The Patriots could be a dark horse contender in the NFC. I think the Vikings could be a dark horse contender. Again, it's kind of not all or one or the other. They're not full-on pretender. They have no chance at the Super Bowl. It's not full-on contender. They're going to win the Super Bowl in March there. I think it's a dark horse contender. Hey, they have the status to reach that tier 1 level due to this premier defense. But as of right now, as of today, I just can't label that until I see more quarterback play out of Drew Lock. Teddy Bridgewater. I'm hoping someone will step up in the run game, whether it be Javonte Williams or Melvin Gordon, realizing his job is kind of on the line. I like what this team has. They need to figure out the quarterback play a little bit more to be that next level tier 1 contender. I think right now that quarterback play is holding them back to that dark horse title. Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater are 2 complete different players. Teddy Bridgewater is going to be consistent. He's going to be conservative. He's going to give you 20 points game in and game out. Drew Lock, some games will give you 35 points, other games he'll give you 7. It's It's a gamble. It's a risk. I think Drew Lock has a much higher ceiling to Teddy Bridgewater. I think a lot of people agree, but I think he also has a much lower floor. There's just a lot of risk to him. Hopefully in a more consistent system, with a more healthy team, with a more reliant defense, I think Drew Lock can be the guy to help out this team. We'll see in 5 years if they regret drafting Patrick Surtain over a Justin Fields or a Mac Jones. They kind of be Mac Jones, but we'll just see. But for now, I do think they're a dark horse contender that people are somewhat sleeping on. Broncos fans, I'm sure you think, oh, you're going to run to the Super Bowl this year. And while I think that's a chance, I'm not going to hand you that crown yet. I don't think the Broncos are going to win the division by any means. But I think this is a wild card team that is a team that I would not want to play in the playoffs and can be a serious dark horse contender. Just with that premier defense, like I've said, we've seen it time and time again, especially within the own Broncos system with Von Miller already, with the right secondary, with the right pass rush, with the right front seven, with the right coach, with the right defense as a whole. Even if the quarterback play is shaky, if the rest of the roster is on point, you can win a championship or get close to. And therefore, I think the Broncos are a dark horse contender. You guys tell me, though, do you agree or disagree? Are you all for it? Broncos are tier 1 contenders, or they are not even close? They'll be well below 500. Or you kind of like me, or you kind of like in the middle like me, where it's like I'm not going to give them that Chiefs status yet, but do I think they have that ceiling? Of course, due to the premier defense. And refer back to the question in the beginning of the video, how many wins do I got the Broncos getting? I got anywhere between 8-9 to 11-6. I know that's kind of a big range, but more specifically, I would say they have the higher upside of 10-7, 11-6 again. Not a 13-4, 14-3, 15-2 Chiefs, Bucks, but a 10-7, 11-6 sneaky playoff team that I do not want to play in the playoffs with that type of defense. But you guys tell me. As always, and of course, thank you for watching, guys. 2-minute warning.